Hey everyone, welcome back to the Trendcrusher podcast. I'm Peter K. Danish post-metal act Mole have been a band I've really enjoyed, and they have a new album out, DREAMCRUSH. It released in Jan. I had a chance to speak to their vocalist Kim about the album and much more. We even bonded over coffee. Before we get into the chat, this was recorded before the album released all the way in Jan. A lot of it is still relevant. Hope you enjoyed the chat. Here it is. Hi, Kim. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Peter. Thank you for having me.
It's great to speak to you. And, we're talking a few weeks, actually, just a week away from the release of your
Exactly
upcoming
a
album.
week away from the release.
Yeah, of DreamCrush. So, what's your thoughts initially, doing press? We're a week away from the album release.
I think overall as it is every time, maybe we have massive imposter syndrome on every time, because we usually think it's great, but the feedback that we've gotten so far is, the at least the diehards are like, okay, yeah, we accept whatever changes we uh have been making, because like we're never gonna make the same album. And yeah, like it's been a bit overwhelming again, because yeah, the response has been really great.
So I think I should put this up front in our conversation. Diorama was actually one of my favorite albums of 2021. So no pressure.
Sick.
So when I heard that there was a new album first of all coming out, and then I heard the single from DreamCrush, I was like, "Fuck, how do I feel, right?" And do I want? But hey, I have to say, having got a early preview of the album, you guys have absolutely smashed it. And what I think I'm glad you kind of brought it also up front in the conversation is the fact that Mole as a band is kind of evolving, because you don't want to kind of listening to the same kind of thing. I mean, sorry, I have to make the reference, but then you might as well listen to like an AC/DC or something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, I think it's it's just the thing about, uh we want to keep things interesting for ourselves. So, there's a comfort in knowing your identity as a band. When you start out as a teenager, you are exploring all different things, but I feel at least that we have found at least some kind of a scheme, not as necessarily a schematic, because I think we have a saying in Møl that goes, Møl må godt. That means Møl is allowed, like Møl can do, because it keeps us open to, whatever skill sets, whatever experiences, whatever things that we are going through. We are not gonna fight against the things that are, working for us creatively, if we have moved or progressed. So I think it's just, this is Møl 2026, or well, for when we recorded this, it was 2025. So, but it's the recent diary entry of us.
That's interesting that you say, right? I mean, because and picking on a couple of things you said, of course, you talked about just having the imposter syndrome. And do you think the kind of response you got to Diorama kind of weighed on Dream Crush, or what we now know as Dream Crush?
None of us have expected us to be playing music that would be, reached from here to Australia, India, across the globe. Like, none of us really did expect that. So to say that, how the earlier receptions hasn't that they haven't affected us is would be a lie, I think. But at the same time, we're really, and I think the album title actually underlines the overarching theme of what we as a group or also as individuals are going through at the moment. Like, um, you have dreams as teenagers, but then you grow, and are you able to, you know, essentially crush some of those uh, when you actually get to uh, get what you want, or didn't necessarily, want, but there's something about the dreams that you keep as an individual. Might know people, that's gonna be like, yeah, I'm really pursuing like this goal. Like I want to be, by the end of the year, I want to have. That's why I hate resolutions because I'm never gonna
It's so
meet
funny we're
my
talking
own
about this
expectations.
at the start of
But
the
but
year,
but
right?
it's really that feeling. That's we have a sense of as humans to want to strive towards the better, the perfection, progress. But sometimes the ability to just exist and accept the things or the changes that comes around you, that means you have to reevaluate your values, your goals, whatever it is, from time to time. So yeah, Dream Crush, in it has a Danish translation. It started out as a working title in Danish, and that is Drømmeknus. And drømme means dreams, and knus in Danish also means hug
Oh,
and
okay.
or embrace. So there's a duality there, and we've always enjoyed dualities, and you know, not uh, spilling the beans too much. Uh, in the English, translation, it sounds really blunt,
Yeah.
and that might also be on purpose because there. But the the we I think there's a tendency overall cultural wise, not just music, but everywhere in the world nowadays is maintaining your identity, being aware, like that I'm Danish. I'm a multicultural bastard. Like, uh, my mom was adopted from South Korea, and my dad is half German. So, uh,
Wow. You're a
but I live in
multi.
Denmark now,
Wow.
and in my family there are like, yeah, 8, 9 different nationalities. So,
Wow.
but wherever you grow up, you carry that with you into the world. That's also one of the reasons why we have actually stuck to having both English and Danish lyrics. You also see it from bands like Alien Weaponry. Um,
Yeah.
it's There's such a strong cultural identity in that, and I think not uh, putting there's something about uh, singing, performing arts in your native language that translates uh, way more in some sense. At least in Denmark, we hear way more like Danish-speaking bands, and we've done this, switching or blending English and Danish as a way before it became like so um, popular.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's interesting that you say that, right? Because like it's very clear also when you're doing it for, whatever, views, getting kind of thing, but with now the way you're kind of just explaining Dream Crush, right? It's so interesting to hear it from Danish and in English. But I was holding my thought. It's so interesting that you talked about like growing up, right? So a couple of weeks ago, I turned 40, and the
Did.
entire
Congrats.
month, the thanks, the entire
You're
kind of
keeping
like
well.
month or so that I kind of, or in the lead up, the only thing that kind of went into my mind is, have I actually achieved like what I thought, like teenage me, I thought what I was going to do? And now that I'm like 40 and, by it's one of those strange things that I think like I've had a lot of conversations about it. Is like I'm one of those people who is like by 30 I'll do this, by 40 I'll do this. And now that it's caught up with me, I'm like, hey, did I actually hit those goals? But a
Mm.
lot of that stuff is kind of like, how do I say, self-imposed as opposed to anyone else putting on
Mm.
you. So it's like this album is also kind of that, right? Where you're like, hey, is whose dreams are they really? And
Yeah.
you'd kind of probably resonate with this considering we come from like Asian, South Asian kind of families where a lot
Mm.
of like parental control and things like that is, right? So very fascinating from that perspective. But tell me about this. I mean, like, I know, and that's one of the things I remember even listening to Diorama. Uh, what's interesting for me is even though I don't understand Danish or a lot of like the music that I enjoy,
Mm.
um, there is that sense of, how do I call it? Melancholy of sorts. I mean, like I feel it when I listen to a lot of like bands from like say Finland, or there's something about like that entire region
Mhm.
where there's a certain kind
It's
of
because we
melancholy.
have pure darkness and cold. I think something, yeah, there's something about that. I, my grandma used to, say to me, your soul is it's adjusted to minor, like, and uh, and that I think there's something about this, yeah, like melancholy that deeply is deeply comforting, at least
Hmm.
to me, because it's an acknowledgement that and I think like the weather and seasonal change actually impacts me a lot because like I fucking hate winter, but
Same.
but at the same time you get to go through I think if I was living in California, I would have a hard time because I would not appreciate the switches in mood. And there's something about winter or that season that makes you like um, that I turn inward
Hmm.
when that happens. And you see it in nature as well. You tuck yourself away. Some animals hibernate. There's a time where it's not, as important for you to perform, produce all of this. So having the world silently shutting down, things dying around you, and then seeing things blossom up again. I think that impacts us as Scandinavians a lot.
I mean,
My
it's
girlfriend, she's from Finland, and she knows that darkness. But if you know the Moomin characters and the stories, you know all of those stories. Nature is a character in itself. There.
yeah, and actually, if you read, I think Finnish mythology and stuff, it's very very kind of like deep and very impactful on like a lot of metal. Uh,
Yeah.
but even when I'm coming back, right? I mean, like I remember, like I grew up as a teenager listening into like Linkin Park, and then immediately
Me too.
kind of went into this extreme metal. Side note,
Mhm.
in 2 days, I'm finally going to see Linkin Park. So you
You
can
are.
imagine what my teenage self is going to do. But
I think it's important to chase those sensations.
yeah,
Uh, Nostalgia is a beast.
yeah. But coming back, right?
Yeah.
I dove straight into extreme metal, and then I listened to like black metal. And I grew up in the Middle East where it's always like you said, California, sunny. But the moment I moved to a place like Canada,
Mm,
and you kind of experience that, and I actually moved during winter, oh my God, like there's no experience like plugging into your Walkman or whatever, walking
mhm.
into like, I don't know, a foot of snow, and it's just like snow all around. It just hits you completely differently. So I know exactly what you're kind of talking about. But with Dream Crush, right? Coming back to the album, it's not all doom and gloom, right? There is that sense of, I don't know how would I experience, I mean, how do I explain it? Because it has to be listened to a kind of experience, but there is that sense of joy or that light at the end of the tunnel that you kind of feel. And I like how like every kind
Jubilee,
of,
melancholy,
yeah, and just kind of
it's the
like that
balance.
pull and push
Yeah,
of that, and very nicely like you're taken through that entire journey. That's why I highly recommend listening to the entire album and not just like songs.
thank you for saying that.
But was that something, like take me back to the initial part of when you all were kind of putting together what we now hear as Dream Crush? Was that from the music? Did you have concepts? Did you have ideas and then married it? How did you kind of put that all together?
I think that is a core part of our main songwriters like way of thinking. In Nikolai Blatt, he like the way as I express things with my words, playing the guitar as a language of him. Like so I know he we all love music that has dynamic,
Hmm.
that makes you that transports you somewhere. I think that's also one of the reasons why I've always been really much into like post rock. And Nikolai, he's grown up with shoegaze and bands like Thurston Moore's Sonic Youth, Cockatoo Twins, all of that Brit rock scene. So I think using guitars uh, for everything, because that's what we've done. Like that is the you might think you're hearing synthesizer, you might think
Hmm.
you're hearing everything is guitar. Like it really is. We work with layers.
Hmm.
So for the emotional, it's mostly about what do you like. I know Nikolai, he works when he works on a song, he works on the whole song and then he presents actually as a demo something,
Hmm.
nearly done. Um, and that means you get kind of the identity of the song, and then when you have multiples of those, then you can kind of, create this emotional narrative.
Hmm.
So encompassing more than just one feeling. I come from hardcore. I enjoy, all of the things that you might two-step to, but it can seem kind of linear and maybe not as, I will get tired to hear, I love like bands like Hatebreed and Throwdown and all of those kind of that energy that's in that music. But as I've grown older, I can't listen to, to beat down for 6 hours straight or, even an hour. I get bored. So I think that comes to show a lot of what we enjoy is it has to, move somewhere. Um, yeah.
Okay, and at which part did the entire concept for the album come together? Was that something that you'd be thinking about and found this as the right kind of music to kind of add it to? Or was it something that Nikolai kind of wrote that kind of sparked?
It's always a with like he presents all of the demos. Ken and him, like they are the two main songwriters. They build out the schematics. I get a fully formed idea of at least each of the songs. And then I think I just try to channel a lot of the emotional energy that I might be carrying at that time. So uh, I think the titles and the track listing is really important. It has always been for us. It to But I've mentioned this in other interviews. Art in my book can also be explained, as a way of organizing and neatly presenting something that we as humans can find really chaotic, like life in general. So it's a distillation of something that might seem, you know, like total chaos. Chaos. That's that's at least a way of, working on, things in your internal life or your relationship to the world and the people that you love in it. Um, so, you know, yeah, drømmeknus was a word that kind of could make the overarching like the thematical approach to this, but it's not like I was thinking with every song this has to like play into it. Um, for 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 me at least, I see songs as small emotional snapshots of either experiences or moments of contemplation, where it's just, you know, and then we neatly organize that together so it kind of there's some kind of cohesiveness.
Okay, so you'll have a couple of singles out currently for the album. Uh, which song do you think from those two, and I know it's hard to kind of ask you, but you think represents, so like say for example, giving you the lens of someone who's never heard of the band before, which song do you recommend they listen to and why?
Crush.
Okay.
That that song has all of the, ebb and flows and uh the way that it's the last track of the album. It's, I think I wrote on social media with the like connecting some words to the post with the lyrics. I was like, this is a ride towards the sunset. It's kind of like this warm fuzzy feeling, but it's also marred with a lot of, that exact thing of crushing your own dreams, coming to terms with what you are now, leaving, uh, you know, maybe reassessing uh, how you perceive and walk into the world. Um,
Awesome.
yeah,
So let's play Crush right now for everyone who
yeah.
hasn't heard it. Here's the track.
You found another, treating your skin for pain, where it makes you suffer, and to feel this, embrace and smother. Now put on your smile, oh don't you bother, dream crusher.
All right, that was Crush of Mole's upcoming album, Dream Crush. Hopefully, by the time you listen, this episode is out in time for the album release. But moving on, Kim, one of the things I was also very curious about, right, is especially like in terms of, now I don't know as yet if the lyrics will be available in, I don't know,
They are
the CDs.
they are
Okay.
they're actually out. And I think I did, yeah, as I mentioned, like I did a we did a post where sometimes we'd like to, post the lyrics and explain a little bit about, the song in general, and also, one of the thematical backgrounds for it. Yeah.
So which kind of gets me to the point, right? Where a lot of times, especially with art, once you put it out, you really have no control over how people kind of consume it or kind of see it. From your experience and from like playing live, have you kind of heard any experiences where, it's really moved you to not real to where expenses where you realize that you didn't really realize you'd have this kind of impact on people? Is there something that comes to mind?
Yeah, like Møl is the only band where I am, constantly both thankful but also sometimes a bit overwhelmed with the emotional response that people have to the music. When I'm at the merch booth, I've had so many people my age or my dad's age come down and burst into tears or express how much a certain song meant for them in a certain like hard time or in a joyous time, but has had this emotional impact. Um, I've played in different sorts of outfits,
Hmm.
but this is the band where I felt um, encompasses so many of emotions, and essentially when I joined the band during the Your writing of the Your release, I felt that same way. Uh, I felt that I was able to tie some of my experiences into the emotional progression of each song.
Hmm.
So I think that's a key element to much of Nikolai and Kent's songwriting is you have to be want to listen to it again. We have to want to listen to it again, and you have to feel something. You have to be moved in some way. If it's upset or if it enlightens or lifts your mood in any way, fine, as long as it does something to you. Um, yeah.
No, and that's very interesting, right? Because I feel like when I think about music consumption, right, the kind of albums that I went back to last year the most were ones that actually kind of made me feel something. Uh, I don't know. And this is a kind of segue to the next part, but I don't know if you're a Deftones fan, but
Yes, of course.
fuck
How
that
did you
that
know?
I mean, just threw it in the dark there because like
Yeah.
the amount of times I listened to private music last year was crazy. And it goes back to exactly what you're saying. It's I could feel that, and I don't know, probably after this I'll go back and listen to it. But there was just some kind of like emotion that it kind of evokes in you. And again, this is probably also a function of the way I listen to music, which is primarily when I'm traveling or
Mm,
walking or things like that.
yeah.
And that album, I don't know, like I just feel like as someone who's a Deftones fan, out of nowhere that kind of hit you. But I think also in terms of expectations, because it's that album that really kind of like got me, and I was like, fuck, like these guys are on something. Did you manage to catch them on tour?
I have seen them like a lot of times, but not on this round. Um, I
Okay.
think it's interesting. Yeah, Private Music is one of my favorite albums of last year as well. Uh, uh, but that's really also a band that has, instantly when you hear a riff or
Yeah.
like that is so them
Yeah.
without me being like, oh, that it's boring or like I've heard that before. It's I'm they have something that worked really well for them. Again, dynamic.
Yeah.
uh, and I know for a fact that Ken, like, up to the diorama release, he listened to a lot of Gore, the Gore album,
Oh fuck.
for the drumming parts. Um, really inspired by a lot of that. But he's a huge Blink 182 fan, so you can hear Travis Barker in there somewhere.
Nice. That's good to have like a variety of kind of
Mhm.
influences, which
Yeah.
I think is a great segue to the next question I had for you, which was like, considering you just are putting out an album, I'm sure you spend a lot of time like kind of just going through the music and stuff like that. Does it kind of leave you with time to kind of listen to other bands, other music? If you could share like what
For
you're
me,
listening
yeah.
to.
Well, you get sick of listening to your own stuff. No. Well, you have to give, you need breaks once in a while when you listen. But like I know, for instance, like Teenage Wrist is a band that I know Nikolai had been listening a lot to, and Super Bloom, for my part, at least for the clean passages. Like there's a lot of clean singing on this one, and I've started to actually sing in my own key, like uh, I'm a baritone, and it's nice to finally find home in my instrument in a way that can complement the whole orchestration. So I feel like I'm also not just the guy screaming on top, but I my instrument becomes an instrument as well, contributing to the melodical landscape. But for me, like actually for the finding my identity with the cleans, uh, Simpson from Fight Star and also President, uh, and he used to play uh, in that, what was it, that old teenage band, Year 3000 was it?
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
Busted, yeah,
Busted.
yeah.
Oh, it's
He
the
used to
same
play in that.
guy?
It's the same guy.
Fuck, no
He is
wonder.
president. He is also the guy in Fight Star. Yeah. I'm really inspired by his vocal takes, and he also has that. They have that deftonesy.
Yeah.
Like the drumming is really impressive, especially in Fight Star. And yeah, like I've listened a lot to, yeah, a lot of his material, and been inspired by the way that he sings. Um, and on this album, I felt at least that I don't want to do choruses. I really like doing verses, so the choruses becomes more if high intensity um, with the screaming. So it's like dialing up dynamic and balance is the one that we think we are like at least refining over the years. Um, yeah.
Awesome. That's interesting. I mean, like, and I think that's what you want at the end of the day, right? Like, you want variety, you want something. And I think, like, going back to the example that we had of private music, there was that dynamic, there was that thing. And I think there's also like a sense of unpredictability, which when I'm
Yeah.
going back to Dream Crush, right? That it's not like, oh, I know exactly what they're going to do next. Um, I'm kind of going back to something that you said at the start, which is you don't like winter, but you guys, I was just looking at your schedule, are also a couple of weeks away from touring
Yeah.
Europe and UK.
Mhm.
I mean, in my head, I was like, why don't you go like someplace where it's not cold? Because that's actually the strategy I realized for a lot of European bands is that they'll make music or release it to a time where they can go tour during their winter and then come back when it's festival season back again in Europe. So,
Yeah.
uh, what are you looking forward to? What's it like touring for you guys?
I think touring has become more comfortable over the years. Um, like for instance, like I think this is our second headliner, EU headliner, and on our first headliner, it was really like okay, is this gonna go well? Um, we were supposed to have some American acts over to do some touring with them, but we ended up with the UK act Countless Skies as a support, and then we went on tour with them, and it actually turned out like really well, like really well. So we were like, okay, we can do this because like we've been on a lot of support tours, so I'm really looking forward. The thing about touring is, I really like that kind of way of creating an everyday uh in that setting. Like I've had many addresses throughout my life. So when I talk about finding home in some of my lyrics and being a vagrant or, you know, always reassessing, I think there's something about that nomadic um, thing, a thirst for seeing new places, but also revisiting places. And the cool thing about at least touring Europe is you end up in many of the same places. And it's a really simple like daily rhythm when on tour. You don't have to think about a lot of other things. And okay, we end up at a venue, we pack up. We want to spend at least us as a band, we want to spend as little time as possible doing sound checks and all of that because we'd like to, go out, see the city, enjoy a nice cup of coffee. I'm a huge coffee enthusiast, and uh, my way of bringing souvenirs home is usually going to some of the specialty coffee shops where at some places I'm at least on first name with some of the baristas and chatting up and being like, okay,
Wow.
I'm gonna bring a bag of coffee with me home. So I'm gonna have like a stack of coffee. Okay, this is from Berlin, this is from Hamburg, and then I can taste and share that with my friends when I get home. And yeah, so I'm definitely a coffee tourist. We like to um, not just be stuck in a van and then at a venue every night. Like it can be a kind of claustrophobic when it's just, every day blends together so much if you only see the bus and the venues.
Yeah, I mean, and I can imagine. But now I know exactly who to look for coffee recommendations.
Yeah,
Honestly,
exactly.
because I have to say this. I don't think I've said this on the podcast, but in India, the short story
Hmm.
for you is during the lockdown that we had here, coffee was one of the few essential services that you could get and you could buy. So I went
Yo.
from a tea drinking person to coffee. And then when you're sitting at home making coffee every day, you're like, okay, you want to
Yeah.
experiment. So at this point, my wife will kick me out of the house because I have a French press, a
Uh-huh.
pour over, I have
Yeah.
um, AeroPress. Every
Peter,
time
you
I
have to
travel,
hit me up on social media. We have to talk more, at least about that part.
and then whenever I travel, like or whoever's traveling, the first thing they do is get me coffee beans or something
Hmm.
different. So it's crazy, and and you don't realize what an expensive kind of hobby it can be.
It can, but I've gone from, whiskey and rum to this, and because it's an everyday use thing, and uh, well, like uh, I feel it's a le less expensive hobby than, and that I think there's something about taking that time every day. I make it a ritual, like
Yeah.
when I have to get going. So it's okay that it takes a bit of time and that I don't, rush to get my espresso shot, but like, okay, I'm prepping. And yeah, so I'm not that big on mindfulness and meditation, but that if anything is my meditation, that's it.
So that's interesting that you say, right? Because I think going back for me, that was that 15 minutes where I do a certain kind of thing. It was a like I've now known the term of a grounding ritual of sorts, but that's kind of thing that you knew its
Exactly.
routine. And I also feel
That
that
hits
no,
you in your late 30s, and yeah.
yeah. And
You
then like
need you need some grounding, you need rituals, you need, yeah.
and it's strange that like whenever I travel, for me, I look forward to doing that when I go home is just like making that cup of coffee in the morning, doing that. And you know that like I have to kind of follow this. But I think you will
So
enjoy
small
this.
things.
That's why I'm going to share it with you. I actually transitioned from a French press to an AeroPress for the tiny
It's
reason
a
that
way cleaner cup, isn't it?
more than that, I would end up with in my French press a cup and a half of coffee on the cup that
Yeah.
I drink. And I was like, I always end up with half a cup, which is cold, which I have to microwave, and I'm like, I don't enjoy that. And then I got an AeroPress, which is exactly one cup, and I'm like, fuck. Like, how do you explain that to someone, right?
Yeah,
But
I don't know, but okay. So, is there if we can nerd out a little bit, do you, what's your poison? Like, what kind of, like roasting, or like, do you have some things that you are drinking at the moment?
so right now, actually, because I was just in Sri Lanka a
Hmm.
couple of weeks ago, I got some like fine ground coffee from there. But typically, so because like India, you have so much of coffee, and actually, unfortunately, the best
That's mostly
coffee,
Robusta, right?
yes, but
Yeah.
the best coffee actually gets exported outside. It's
Mm.
not
Yeah.
even stays in India, unfortunately. So I
Mm.
like right now I'm having this, and I'll send you on social media. It's this thing. So like there's one region
Hmm.
in India which has like one of the best coffees, which is strange that I've not gone and stayed because you can actually stay at these coffee estates.
Yeah.
It's
I'd
crazy you
love to
can
do
do.
that one time.
Yeah,
That's my
but
winery.
yeah, exactly, right. But so yeah, so there's an estate called Barbara. That's the one
Hmm.
I'm thing, and I typically look at like coffee, sorry, chocolate or
Mm.
toffee or caramel,
Mm.
those kind of notes. So those are the things I kind of look for when I'm looking for coffee.
Mm.
Uh, but yeah, like I'm also one of those people who likes experimenting, but like at some point I'm like,
Yeah.
I know this is going to give me. So
Do your own blends.
yeah. What
I've not
about
gone
you?
to the level of roasting my own beans yet,
Oh
but
no, no, no.
I'll leave the professionals to that. But I I'm anaerobic fermentation and things that has that fermenty feel where it's still light roast. I'm really a light roast kind of guy. But I think my coffee taste has evolved into something where most of my I'm estranged to most of the coffee drinkers around me, because it's not that I can't drink coffee at work. It's okay. Uh, there's coffee for survival, and then there's coffee for enjoyment. Uh, so I can drink instant coffee. That's okay. I'll
Yeah,
do that, but I'm doing it for the caffeine. I'm not doing it for the taste.
yeah,
Uh, but just knowing that, on a really good cup of coffee in the morning that can last the whole day, because you still taste it so long after. And that sensation, that really, here's the, like, the bow, like that's what I'm also chasing in music. Like if it's something that's lasting, that keeps me engaged in that way, it impacts my body. I can enjoy it for longer. Yeah, that's
It's so funny you're saying this because so I tried to get into an exercise routine also, right? And so I had to incentivize myself. So the incentive
Mhm.
would be that hey, if I do like a 3 to 4 kilometer walk, by
You
the
can
end
have
of
a cup
it,
of coffee. Yeah.
I can I can walk to the coffee shop, get there, and
Whoa!
come
Yeah,
back. And I found that like such a great way of just like tricking your mind because
yeah.
like you I don't know what it is, and I don't get where people say that, hey, I
We are
think we're like,
creatures of habit.
but we also love laziness, right? Where like it's so easy not to do something than do something.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's great to have that kind of incentive
Yeah.
once
Make it
there.
the easy option for yourself.
Yeah, but tell me this, right? And just
Mm.
going back to the touring aspect, coffee, of course, makes sense, doing kind of things, but it's also not just like something you're doing alone, right? You're with a group of
No,
people.
it's with some of my best friends, and I think
Yeah,
that makes that's also something like I'm 36. And by now, I've kind of realized, at least with this aspect, like I'm not gonna be able to share this with my family or like my partner at home. I've brought her on tour once though because we go to Finland and we have some actually a lot of activity going on there. So it's fortunate that sometimes you can combine. But usually it's something that I do it for me and I do it with my friends. And I think that sums up at least what why I play music. I like experiences with people. Um, I and it's such a joy to share like those cooperative experiences, and most of us really remember those like the van breaks down, something happens, like all of that. That's adventure. It's what you're gonna remember afterwards, and I love when it becomes that collaborative effort. I can't describe how many times we've been stuck in airports waiting for a rebooking and stuff like that, but then we make a game out of something, or you pass the time in some way, or but it's like there's so much control you give up when you go out and touring. You're basically a vagabond. You're depending on other people to either pick you up or provide a place to stay or to eat. So there's a lot of grace there in my opinion. And also being thankful for that, hospitality and kindness that you get shown along the way. Um,
yeah, because a
it's a
couple
good
of things.
exercise. Huh?
So a couple of things I actually wanted to ask you about touring, right?
Yeah.
And the direction I was going to go with is, and I'm glad you kind of talked about because it's not fun sometimes, right? Like you may, especially when you said like touring with your partner, I'm like, wow, that's like really ambitious. Because even if it's someone you love and care about, but just spending all that time together, and especially in like situations like where you're talking about where, whether it's you're in the good mood, bad mood, whatever,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, you're seeing someone at their very primal, very basic. I mean, I don't think there's any more basic you can see anyone than when they just first wake up. They're not pretty. They're not the funniest person. You are not the
Not the most
best person.
presentable, but
Yeah,
that's what I want.
yeah.
uh,
And I
it's
think that,
authentic.
yeah. So at which point was there like a moment where all of y'all realized that, hey, let's embrace this? Or was it always kind of like, hey, this is great? Or was there a moment? I don't know.
I think we, at least when we talk about it, like also us together, like the things that we do remember from touring might not necessarily like be that crowd or
Hmm.
playing that song. Um, some things do stand out. Like I'm still like to this day and until I die, I will be overwhelmed by the fact that a lot of British people at a festival wears like, those plus 4,000 yelling in Danish. That's that stays with me. Because I hope that they know what they're screaming, but it's just it impacts you in such a as a Dane, it
Hmm.
impact and as a person, it does something to you when you hear somebody in your shouting something in your native language. But um, what I'm trying to say is we 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 do at least with the touring. I think it has a lot to do with like motivation. You have to go out and test this. Does it hold up in a real life setting, not just in in your studio? There's so many like studio musicians out there, and because I love performing live, I'm always like, okay, let's see if this holds up. So there's something about testing your craft, proving at least to yourself, okay, I can do this. It's not just a production trick, and also the collaborative effort. Um, like, yeah, bringing your partner in might be difficult for some, but I would encourage every young band or people who want to do things like this to involve the people around you. Don't just keep it as the guy's hobby.
Hmm.
Show them why you care about this so much that you would want to skip that christening or skip that Christmas or it do something that way. You have to make them understand why it's a priority for you. For example, my day job as a social worker, I've always been upfront with many of my employers, like you get a happy employee when he comes home because I need to be aired like a dog. I need a walk. I and I come back really motivated and I want to, work because I get to go and do something for me.
Wow, that's so beautiful, and I think you said two really beautiful things over there. But also, I realized, and this is through my chats with musicians like you, especially American musicians who are very happy touring Europe, because there's catering, and you actually get good food, and I don't
Yeah.
know, try out different kind of cheese and stuff like that. Uh,
Uh-huh.
is
Not the
food?
UK though.
Oh,
We
I
have a
mean,
problem with UK and their lack of public toilets and stuff.
I don't know if I'll keep this in the podcast,
That's
but
all right.
uh, UK food, what's UK food? It's all like stolen from
It's
Asia
stolen from India. Yeah,
and India. Yeah.
the best Indian food you can get in the UK.
But cool. So, what else can everyone who's still listening to us chat? What can they expect from Mole in 2026? Whatever you can share at the moment.
You can expect some more touring. We have some great news for the fall coming up. And yeah, that involves some dates and some exciting bands that we'd like to tour with. I can't say more than that. But other than that, I really encourage people to go listen to the whole album in full. And if you feel curious, go explore the lyrics. Also, the ones in Danish, Google Translate is your friend. But yeah, come see us live. And yeah, take the time out to, give yourself a break. If our album can help that, you're welcome.
Awesome. I think there's no need for any final words because you summed it up so well. But thanks so much, Kim, for joining me today and sharing everything.
Thank you, Peter.
And that was Kim from Mole. Do check out DreamCrush if you haven't already. It's easily one of my favorite albums of this year. And if you live in the UK or Europe, the band are currently on their festival run, so check out their website for more details. As always, hit subscribe, follow. I'm going to be putting out the podcast more regularly now. Got quite a few episodes in the bank, so see you all very soon. Cheers.